People tend to fall behind the statistics. You want to start a business, look at the statistics. You want to win a race, look at the statistics. You want to get a first rank, look at the statistics. But the problem is, the logic of statistics will not always function. In fact, mostly it fails. Do you want to know the reason? It is because the world is driven by the forces that cannot be measured. There is always a human element which cannot be calculated or quantified. That is the reason people emerging from the toughest situations, who are subjected to the greatest pressure, often surprise the whole world by beating the most talented people. Because when the human psychological behavior and emotions crave for something so stoutly, so strongly, they become crazy and mad at winning that stuff. They often surprise the most talented one in the race. And this has been proven many times. Looking at this, historian Will Dort once said that logic is an invention of the man and that may not be followed by the universe. Attempting to calculate hormonally and emotionally designed human minds is often very frustrating and stands as a surprise to the whole world. And that is the exact reason why many startups who start with the predictions fail, and surprisingly some events go viral and they captivate, they get the greatest attention, which you often observe in social media. So things do not always function rationally in the logical manner. They most importantly surprise the world by some illogical results. There was a guy called Robert McNamara, and he was called upon by the Henry Ford, the greatest automobile company back then during the World War. And Namara's purpose, being the whiz kid back then, who is having a lot of ability to calculate transactions, calculate the data of basically of the business, and made wisest choice in terms of improvising the sales, improvising the business. He is more of a business analyst back then in 1940s, and he was really successful in doing it. Namara has well-boundedly performed at Henry Ford's automobile company, and he bought great revenue, great business. He has made great business decisions which has substantially helped the Henry Ford company to rise up after the effect of World War II. However, when the same guy has been given the opportunity to work as a Secretary of Defense at Washington, ignominiously failed in predicting the conditions and results of the war, until Edward, the head of special operations, stepped in and pointed out the loop that is being missed by McNamara, the greatest statistician, stating that he is doing every calculation inside out very perfectly. The only thing that is missing is the emotions and the behavior patterns of the Vietnam people on whom they are conducting the war back then. And reducing the emotions and behavior to the statistics is really highly impossible. You can never calculate the mindset and psychological behavior of a man. And that is the reason why the predictions that are made by the greatest people in the world are completely being dominated, are completely going wrong. Battle of Bulge, which had taken place in America during the Second World War, was the most deadliest of the wars that have happened in America. It was really surprising for American military because they did not expect an attack from Germany. Why? German people are very low at number. Majority of the people who ignited the counter-attack less than 18 years of age and with zero military experience. Because the German military does not have proper food, they don't have fuel supply, and the forest through which they were traveling to attack is thickly dense and not definitely with proper paths. And finally, the climate was atrocious. The military of America think zero chance for the Germans to start an attack or to counter-attack. However, it was by surprise. Hitler's army has attacked with a less number of people under such conditions and killed 17,000 US military. More than 70,000 are heavily injured. It is always very important to understand the one thing that you can never measure is emotion and behavioral patterns of human beings. They can surprise you at any moment. Another interesting story about the predictions and behaviors of human beings is the story of Hill. Hill is a British physiologist born in 1886, and he is very famous for studying and understanding human mechanism, body mechanics. In fact, he also received the Nobel Prize for his work on body mechanics in 1922. And his observation is very clear, stating that the person who is having good heart, which has the capacities to send adequate blood and oxygen to the running muscles, is the one who wins the race or any marathon. And that is his statement, and he has also proven that in his laboratory conditions, observing an athlete running on the track. And yes, his observations were perfectly correct in the laboratory. But do you know what? These calculations entirely proved him wrong in the original Olympics. It has always surprised him, and he almost had zero success rate in making the predictions of who is going to win. Ultimately, when someone has asked why this is happening, Hill claimed that we have covered almost all the essential factors, looking at the heart muscle, cardiovascular capacity, and blood movement, right, muscle movement, everything in the laboratory, but we missed one important essential element, that is emotional and biological behavior of of the athlete, which actually comes to place under the pressurized, risk-filled condition in the Olympics, and also pressurized conditions with the deliberate incentive, craving for winning the race. He eventually agreed that it is highly impossible to calculate the emotional and behavioral patterns of the human beings, and oftentimes these are the elements which can beat the talent and surprise the whole world. And observe the things around you and observe the stories around you. You often find the same thing which has strongly accepted by the Nobel Prize winner Hill. So rather than always looking at the calculations, believe in your gut and take a step. See you in the next video.